Millions of people across the United States have a dream of having that Johnny Paycheck moment where they tell their boss to take this job and shove it as they want to start their own company. But are entrepreneurs actually happier? Let's bring in business strategist, productivity hacker, and work-life balance expert. And oh, by the way, she just happens to be the author of the just-released book, The Vacation Effect. She is Denise Gosnell, and she joins me on the program. Denise, good morning, and thanks for coming on board.
Good morning, Ron. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so these entrepreneurs that decide to go out on their own, does it actually make them happier?
Well, a recent study actually conducted right before the pandemic has shown that entrepreneurs in general, when compared to people who work for someone else, tend to be happier on average because they get the freedom and control of their work. But that doesn't mean entrepreneurship is perfect by any means.
No question. I mean, long hours, little pay. I saw that firsthand. My father was one of those entrepreneurs. He was a pharmacist, decided he wanted to go into business for himself. So in 1972, he opened up his drugstore. And, you know, as an 8-year-old kid, you don't recognize these things because you're in a brand new home, sleeping in a bed, and, you know, you don't have a care in the world. But I'm sure there were plenty of nights where my dad was wondering just what the heck he got himself into.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw that. Well, you may not have noticed all the details that were going on behind the scenes, but Ron, that's actually one of the things when your dad hired employees in his pharmacy, which I'm sure he probably did, that at the point you hire employees, the study shows that, you know, once you have to do that, of course, the likelihood of burnout increases, which makes sense, right? When it's just you and things are going good and it's just you and you're making money and whatnot, it's like, okay, fine, I can do this. But when you bring on the whole team of employees, the complexity increases. So I thought that was interesting that, you know, the study pointed out what I've always found to be true in my own companies.
Well, you get the stress level of, good Lord, am I going to be able to make payroll?
Exactly. Because literally, I care about all my employees across my 3 companies. And if there's ever a financial downturn where the revenue is down, I still have to be able to pay them. And I care about them and their families. And a lot of times business owners will sacrifice their own personal salaries and income of their own families in order to make sure that they can, you know, feed the families of their employees. So it's it can be tough at times, but it's one of the greatest blessings I've ever had in my life, but it's not for everyone.
A little background on Denise. She is a serial entrepreneur, a CEO running her consulting business, law firm, and real estate company. You own and operate 3 companies in 3 different industries by working an average of 3 days per week, and you generate 7 figures each year. Not too shabby, Denise.
Thank you. Yeah, I've learned my lesson the hard way, though. I was a burned out workaholic entrepreneur 10 years ago, and it wasn't until I had a house fire where I lost everything that made me reassess what I was doing with my life. And there's got to be a better way than being this highly successful entrepreneur who was burned out. And I had everything everybody thought would be the measure of success, yet I was unhappy. So that's when I decided to figure out how to build a business around my life instead of my life around my business, and really have a quality of life that I wanted and not continue on the workaholic hamster wheel.
Denise, talk a little bit about your just-released book, The Vacation Effect.
Yeah, so it basically is a book for business owners who already have some revenue, but they're feeling overwhelmed and they still want to grow, but they would rather have a lot more free time. So I deconstruct what I did and what I've helped my clients do to make the shift to get out of the trenches in the company and really build a business that runs when you're not there, so that you can have that freedom lifestyle, reward your employees, give them a lot more freedom, but also just have the life that you deserve. So they can learn more at vacationeffectbook.com if that sounds interesting.
Okay, where can they find the book? Is it strictly online, or can they find the book elsewhere?
Yeah, so at that URL I just mentioned, vacationeffectbook.com, it will give them the links to Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other places, plus a link that they can obtain the book bonuses to go with it.
All right, so Denise, not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. What are some of the traits that provide an entrepreneur, a good entrepreneur?
Yeah, so you have to be, highly confident in your own abilities. It's like when I was working for someone else, I used to say to myself, man, I'm, making them all this money, but I'm the one bringing in the clients and I'm the one doing these things that I literally could do it on my own. Like if you notice that about yourself, it's like, if you've told yourself that before, it might be a good sign that you, might be suited, you might be onto something there. But it also comes down to whether or not you are willing to think on your feet and you can handle the pressure and stress of not always having consistent cash flow. And that's, you can handle that up front by having a plan A and a plan B. Plan A being, if you can, have 3 to 6 months of salary saved so that while you're figuring things out and getting things going, you can still pay your bills. And if you can't do that, some kind of a loan to help you. But you got to know you may or may not have a consistent paycheck on day one unless you're lucky enough to start your own company with a big client under contract like I did. I was blessed in that regard, but I still had lines of credit and savings to help me.
It's certainly a gamble, but for those that are really good at being an entrepreneur, it's a gamble that is well worth taking. Denise, thank you so much for coming on board. All the best to you.
Thank you for having me, Ron. It was a pleasure talking to you.